stage just a little later, but first, have you ever wondered just how much time and energy goes into designing and building a custom-made bike frame? Well, while steel is still the traditional choice, carbon fibre, aluminium and titanium models are becoming increasingly popular. To find out more, I caught up with Australian master frame builder Paul Hillbrick. At just 27, Paul Hillbrick is already recognised as a master frame builder. His passion for crafting bikes starting more than 10 years ago.
Basically, I was racing bikes years ago. When I was about 14, thereabouts, 15, I stopped and I started to have a bit of a love for bikes ever since, and that not being allowed to have a bike when I was younger. And there's an old fellow, he'd been building frames for about 60 years. He pulled me aside and he basically started to teach me the craft of frame building, and it's something that's just grown from there since.
On average, a bike frame will take Paul around 8 hours to complete. This frame is at the halfway stage and when finished will be hand-painted to the buyer's specification. The cost around $1,000.
The secret is not to rush a frame because it's a specialised piece of equipment, and you don't want it to let the cyclist down at any time, so you've really got to just take your time. There's no shortcuts.
Paul makes up to 200 frames a year, a process which always begins with discussing exactly what type of riding the buyer wants to do with their bike and then custom building that design to their measurements.
Sure, you can pull a bike off the rack, you can make yourself more or less fit it, but one thing that I've learned over the years, I've measured a lot of people up, and the one thing I do know is there's no such thing as a standard size person.
While the majority of bike frames are still made of steel, the lighter aluminium, carbon fibre and titanium frames are making an impact. For Paul though, his choice remains the traditional steel, tubing imported from Italy or England.
This is where the cranks will go, and a very important part of the bicycle because there's a lot of stress on that. And gear lever bosses, where the gear levers will go, or you can put the fittings for the STI brakes, and once again up to the head of the frame, and we've got cast lugs again.
From the days of this 1936 peerless racer, bikes are now specially designed for specific types of racing. Whether it's for the comfort and handling required on a long road stage, the agility and speed needed for a tight criterium circuit, or the specific demands of an individual time trial.
As he comes to line, he gets it by less than half a second.
And when the difference in fitness and ability between top riders is often so little, the rider with the best bike for the conditions can have the deciding advantage. Something which makes building just the right frame all the more rewarding. Yes, and Paul